Hello, everyone. Welcome to Teamwork Design, where we strive to design life from conversation to communication. I am your host, Terry Mera. Has been since I met this amazing, the very first fashion stylist that I ever met,
Oh wow.
Rodney E. Hall, in 2004. It has been 20 years.
No.
Yes, that's the time that I launched my collection, Witness.
Witness.
And yes, and that's the time that I watch you work on my
Oh,
fashion show, styling the shoes, accessories, and everything. So yeah, it has been 20 years.
it's always such a blur. It's always such a blur. Like it's amazing. I mean, this is a really horrible comparison and analogy. But like every woman that I've spoken to who said that they've gone through childbirth said that they're completely it's like super intense and then they forgot about it like immediately afterwards. It just goes away, and that's sometimes like what it's like when you're on like doing a show. It is just like really just like so intense, and like time kind of like slows down, but at the same time that it slows down, everything around you speeds up, like just lightning. Like did you watch that horrible movie called Flash, or the last one, when it's
No,
like
I don't
oh
watch your horror movies.
oh no, it's like a DC the Flash, like the that kind of like a Marvel-y, like superhero kind of thing. But anyways, there were like scenes where like he would time travel and things would just go really, really, really quickly. But then also like things would like he would stop in the middle of thing, and it just becomes this intensity. And then like when it's done, you forget how long, because it's like I don't know, like time kind of like stops at that point. So like knowing that it was 20 years ago, it seems like it can't be 20 years ago. It's got to be like maybe five, because it was. But you remember that day. I mean, the whole thing, like it was just like it was intense. It was an intense amount of like, but like fashion. I mean, I love it. I love like the intensity of fashion shows. Just the, I don't know. I feel it's like sometimes like you have got to pivot, especially day of the show and time of the show. You have got to pivot really, really quickly. There's no time for like kind of modeling and kind of like, well, maybe kind of thing that you have to act. That you have to act. It's almost like a crisis situation. Like, gotta go, gotta do this. Decision made, move on. Decision made, move on. And I love that intensity. I know some people say that's a little bit too much, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether, I don't think you are aware of it. But I'm letting you know, if I don't know if I ever told you this, but
Mm,
when I watch you work, and
okay.
that's the first time I understood the true meaning of styling. Because when you did the whole styling of my fashion show, it's totally out of my imagination.
Oh, wow.
That was
Okay.
not that was not what I projected. Actually, it was better than what I could ever imagine. And that's where I really got to appreciate it, because now I look back, and the collection was in between, whether junior, or it wasn't really messy. It wasn't in between, but you make it hot. The accessories, the way you styling it, it's just something that I didn't expect. And I watch you how you work, and that inspired me in a way that, I mean, the work environment is really paced, that's for
Oh,
sure.
wow.
And I remember it's like do, and you just making decisions. I don't know, as hectic it was in a way that kind of it flew in a way that is supposed to be. So when I watch you work like that, it resonated with me for many years.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Wow, thank you, Terry. You know what? In those moments, in those instances, like before you even get there, for me, before I even get there, it is like an internal obsession about like what can go wrong. And in your mind, you're troubleshoot. You're like, okay, if this scenario happens, X, Y, and Z needs to happen. And it's almost like mentally playing a Rubik's cube and solving. So anything that gets shot at you, you are able to quickly respond to it, as opposed to like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like you have to like, especially like you guys are the client. To me, like the worst thing, not that you, if you don't know, you don't know, and that you should have like no qualms about saying like I don't know, or like I messed up, or like give me a moment, something like that. That's fine. But you should walk in like really kind of prepared, because it is going to be intense. Like there's no way around it. Even with the most money, the biggest budgets, like literally some shit is gonna fall through the cracks. There's gonna be like flaming arrows being shot at you. Oh, this model is sick. Oh, all of a sudden this person's on the period. Like literally, like anything can happen, and you have to be prepared. But you also have to be prepared in a way, like I don't know. Just me personally, hmm, I get super annoyed by people who like feign. Oh my god, like created like who create like discourse and drama and stuff because they haven't been prepared. And I find that like very irritating, as opposed to like showing up being prepared, stuff happening, and you're just constantly you're pivoting. You're just moving all around, you know? Like you take your job really seriously. And I mean, sometimes I'm really, makes me really sad because a lot of people I find don't take what they do, especially some stylists that I've known or I see, they don't take what they do as a serious craft, you know? I mean, there are a lot of people, to me, because of where I came from and who I like assisted and who I work, the person I work with, it's only in hindsight and looking backwards, like he could have offered that job to like, it kind of was like a like an Andy moment from Devil Wears Prada. Like a million people would have killed for that position, and he gave that position to me because he also had been my instructor in school, and he saw how I work. So something like what you're saying right now, you don't know when people are looking at you and how you're working. So he saw how I was in school. He saw my dedication. Like he saw the questions I would ask him. He saw my like following up and like going to his apartment on like a Saturday and sitting on his stoop and just talking about stuff and him telling me stuff, and I had an eagerness to learn. There seems to be now an eagerness to let everybody know what you know now that you know it all. No one wants to like learn. Everyone already knows it, which is kind of a little bit sad because like you can only get better by leaving yourself open to learning. Like even at my age and this stage, I think it's one of the things that I enjoy the most about what I do is that like I'm constantly learning stuff, and the only way you can really learn stuff is by leaving yourself open and accepting to like I don't know. But if you can be really kind of honest about like, oh, I've never thought about it that way. And like sometimes it comes from like the most random person. And then you know what I mean? There's always like sometimes there could be such hierarchy, like, well, I am the blah blah blah, so I would never listen to anything that like my assistant says or like the model says. I won't listen any because I am the authority. And that's such a
I
it's such
mean, that I agree. I mean, for me, is this: if you are here, you are to spend your time in doing it. Might as well just give it all. What's the point if that's not the intent? And I think I happen to see that often when people are, how should I say, more comfortable, or, often they just not care. They just there to check in and check out. And they have those type of, how should I say, not care mentality. That's where I draw the line. And I choose to work with people who are in it. Whether we get to win or not, that's later on in life how you are going to perceive. But if you are there, might as well just give it at all. And the way I watched you, I mean, because we worked with more than once, the first time my impression of you was my very first fashion show. I had no idea. I didn't know what I was doing. Only I knew was designing and making products, right?
Right.
And when you put them all together with, I didn't know about how importance of accessories to, like, you put the whole entire collection in a way that really was not what I imagined, and it was beyond better than I could ever ask for how he presented. So after that, we worked together in many ways where we even worked in the MMA cage of fashion show and all that stuff. Even so, you made a t-shirts really hot. And I'm like, this guy is just everything make it happen. I'm like, you getting scissors and cut stuff off. And you asked me, can I cut this off? I was like, do whatever you want to do. Because I had a faith in you that whatever you touches, it just come alive. So I'm like, I'll just let you go with it. And the way I mean, it was really amazing experience for me. So that
Mhm.
resonated with me, with you, always the stylist, as like, you know what, if I ever to pick a stylist work together, then you are always the first one because of that experience. I mean,
You
you
know,
even spend time on like pins and like those little things that, how should I say, often at the time as a young designer, I didn't pay attention to all these important elements of the look. And
of
you pay attention to everything, even the heels that you buy. Why you buy this? You have a reason for everything. I'm like, this guy's looking at this whole thing in like totally different perspective. And that's where I learned a lot just watching you.